back to Soul Star Radio. I'm Jacqueline, your host, and I'm joined today, live in person again, by the very lovely, wonderful Raoul Estevez. And we're coming to you live from Ballarat, which has somehow added a W into its name.
Ballarat.
Ballarat at the Crystal Blue Butterfly Healing
Crystal
Centre.
Blue Butterfly.
Very much so. And we've, in fact, bought
Popcorn.
Because we're coming from a great moment of healing, I think.
Yes.
In Ballarat right now. The news is around the world, but really today you were saying the message is surrender.
Yes.
Lots of surrendering going on. In fact, it was hilarious, my travels here. We actually nearly hooked up a thing where I was going to walk through the door and then go, hello, welcome to the show. Coming to you live. I'm just going to join Raoul in this wonderful room of yours, once we arrived. But we're now here. And it's absolutely a beautiful place you've got here.
Thank you so much, and thank you so much for surrendering. And we got here on time.
We got here on time.
And we're surrounded by angels.
We very much are.
Archangel Michael in front of us, but behind us we got Archangel Raphael, and we got a little representation of Archangel Michael just there between us.
Yes.
So thank you so much for having me on the show once again, and I'm thrilled that you made it all the way to Ballarat.
I did. I thought it was an hour. That's what happened. It's actually an hour and 20.
However, on time.
On time. And so do you ever find yourself, like I have really weird and interesting things happening with time and dimension. What sort of things have you had happen with time?
One thing that actually has happened to me with time, that I needed to be in Melbourne at a specialist appointment, and the train was running late. I usually just ask the angels kind of like warp time for me, and the one thing that they tell me is, okay, stop looking at your watch. Don't look at it from this time that you asked for help. Don't look at it anymore. And funnily enough, somehow that train got into speed, got onto the station 2 minutes earlier than the timetable announcement. So you know what? Believe in angels because they do believe in you. And the minute that you ask for help, they provide.
They certainly did this morning. That was quite hilarious. Not only do I have to try and sign into my Skype because my phone updated, and it's like, guess what? You're going to have to remember your password now. And I thought, thanks. Okay, Spirit, take care of this one for me. And we still got here on time. So it's really quite interesting when people stress out about that. And I find myself, although I care and I'm very diligent about sort of things like that, and I'm very perfection-oriented around time.
Likewise.
I just sort of went, do you know what? It's going to be okay. It'll be all right. And even if it's not okay, it's still okay because it's going to work out how it needs to.
When you send me the message saying, I'm somewhere near Ballarat, and that's when I sent you that message today, the angel, and I got my little angel box here, and I draw a little card every day. And the card that I drew for today was surrender. And I'm like you, I was trained in hospitality, and the training was on time, you're late. So you need to be a couple of minutes earlier. And you got here a couple of minutes earlier. So you were on time, you were not late. And also the idea that at this stage in our lives, I guess that we should say, it is what it is. You got yourself in the car, you are driving, what else can you do? And the issue is, I usually say to people, don't put yourself in danger to try and be somewhere on time, because you know what? You may not be on time if you're dead.
Yes, exactly. And that's interesting because literally at the petrol station, the lady said to me, better late than never. And I went, that's right. So you sort of, if you're sort of finding that, you get into traffic, you've got people stressing out in front of you, just remember that you don't need to join that consciousness. It's really kind of important to be able to go, this is fine. So that's the sort of thing I would sort of look at it as, and how to sort of deal with that. But it's immense world news headlines overnight that we've had. I remember many years ago being told by church ministers that I needed to beg forgiveness for being unusual and psychic. And it's just really interesting how that turns back around with the sort of, and it is, because it's in the world news, we sort of can't really ignore it. No. With Cardinal Pell, who was from Ballarat. And now is in Rome. And so we send healing, love and light to all people who have been affected in any way by any kind of, abuse or any kind of harm that's been done to you or that has affected you in your life to do with anyone else around you. So we send a thought of healing, love and light to those people. But we've actually also got someone who's written in.
Lovely.
We have, thank you so much for writing in. And just remember, you can write in at any time to have a reading on air. And you can also phone in. So do feel welcome to do that if you're there now and wanting to call in for a reading. But we've got Tabitha from Helensburgh, New South Wales, Australia.
Hi, Tabitha.
Hi, Tabitha. Now, she's, and that's her date of birth there for you as well. Now, she's written in to say, where's it all going? She's sort of at a bit of a crossroads in her life, I guess you would call it, desperately needing help, and she's also wondering if there's a message from her loved ones for her at this time, so passed over loved ones. So see what you get for...
The first phrase that they gave me immediately is, Tabitha, you got the music in you. And that music, you need to go a little bit into your own cocoon and search for the music again and bring it again, once again, out. Being at a crossroad is actually a really good thing because it means that your life actually has been traveling in many different directions, and now the angels are saying, okay, stop 1 minute here at this crossroad and listen for a minute and listen to that inner song that you got inside. The music is real, and the music is real for you, Tabitha, in so many different ways, including having music around you. And I'm not certain, perhaps, you are a musical person. And if you've forgotten about it, bring it back into the fore, because that's something that it will actually take place. And have a look, I just drew this card, I was talking to you, and the card there is, if you believe. And it's Archangel Metatron, and is offering you the flower of life, that beautiful sacred geometry, meaning that everything that is happening for you is happening perhaps to get you to where you need to be. It may not be pleasant at the moment, but you know what? There's so many things that you need to learn at these crossroads in order to take a brand new direction and get there with the speed that you need to get there with. One thing that they're saying, Tabitha, is don't compare yourself to others, because your journey is individual to you. Other people may be going faster or slower. They may be, in your view, more successful than you are. But success is measured in so many ways. And your legacy, Tabitha, with that music in you, is how many lives have you touched with your own life, with what you do. And with that sentiment and that thought only, you're going to be able to move forward in a way that you have not really dreamt of. But yes, go inside, go deep, find that music with you. I'm not sure whether, Jacqueline, you would like to add.
I really feel that's right on point with her, and I was feeling a lot of mental fogginess with it as well, and that's where that surrender word works in perfectly too, actually, isn't it? Because it's like, surrender is very different to quitting. Yeah. That's not what it's about. It's about giving in and not giving up. And giving in, I want to really be careful about the phrasing of that, because that to me is about let go and let God, as we might call it, which is,
I guess that it's you've done everything that you can.
Yep.
And now let it be to the universe, to the angels, to go behind the scenes and help you. You are giving in to their power, because from you've done everything that you can, but you are not giving up for certain.
Exactly. And I do feel as well there's a lot of conflict in her life periodically, I feel, and it's really challenging, because it's like, why does this happen? Why does this happen to me? I don't feel she's self-pitying so much. I just feel it's like, oh gosh, again, and it can feel really overwhelming. And it's just really important to look to those small little things you can be grateful for, even if it's just that, I don't know, the lady at the petrol station gave you $5 off. That can be fabulous. It could be that, that you're, it can seem like bad luck, for example, if, your car breaks down, but maybe the car broke down and it stopped you from getting to the job interview, and you later find out that the job interview was exactly what you didn't need because that's like the worst job you could have gone to. And that sort of thing I find happens to people. And if they're sort of listening to, oh, hang on, maybe that bad luck is actually good luck. Maybe I'm being prevented from something much worse. It's like when someone trips over the rock and they're cursing the rock, and then they stand up, brush themselves off, and realise there's a cliff there. I'm going to kiss the rock after that one. So it is. I do feel there's a lot of that sort of stuff going on that she's kind of misinterpreting. Does that make sense?
Yes, it makes. And I just drew from the little angel box here a card for you, and the card there is flexibility.
Yeah.
And it's exactly what Catherine is actually sharing with you at this point in time.
I also love the little angel on the box.
Isn't that gorgeous?
It's a very happy angel.
Yes.
I think that's almost a Christmas angel.
It was given to me by a client because, well, she knows that I love angels, and she gave me an array of them, and I decided to just stick this onto the angel box.
We need more of those sorts of things because they kind of just remind you of a box full of fun.
Yes.
And joy. But we've got a caller. We've got Deborah in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Are you there, Deborah?
Deborah, we've got popcorn.
We've got popcorn if you join us on air. We can't hear Deborah.
Maybe your producer can send us a little text.
He could possibly, but do we get a feeling off Deborah even though we can't quite hear her? I'm sort of getting something there.
Okay, go for it.
A bit of sorting out period at the moment is what I would call that. It's kind of like she's having to go deeper within at the moment and really kind of look at what she needs to stop.
The card that is actually alluding to what Catherine is saying there is take action. The idea of taking action, it doesn't mean that you need to rush into something. It means one step at a time. It's like having a beautiful staircase that is leading you to this amazing temple at the top. And you see it and it's beautiful, Deborah, but you know what? That temple will still be there. It's attainable, but it's only attainable if you take action one step at a time. Don't try and jump 2 steps because you may fall and you're going to start all over again. So the idea is go, slow and steady wins the race. But you need to truly bring the reins in and focus on what you want to do and when you would like to be. What I'm getting is you've been bombarded by all these people telling you how you should live life. You know what? At 53 years old, I live life the way that I want to. And one thing that I will say to you that I don't do anymore, and I used to, I do not justify myself. And it's the same with you, Deborah. Don't justify your actions. Your actions, make sure that they're born out of love. And the rest, if people don't get them, don't need to explain.
Yeah. Okay. Can you hear us there, Deborah?
Yes, I can barely hear you.
Yes. Thank you so much. See, we had to do that to bring her in.
That's it.
Was there another question you wanted to ask us at all, or a question?
I have a question, yes. I've been in a long-term relationship for a long time, and I'm just wondering what basically is going to be the outcome of this.
Okay, this is again, what they're showing me is a phrase. They're just whispering in my ear, and they're saying, give the relationship a chance. And it means have a look at the other side of that relationship and feel a little bit more or have a little bit of that perception and realize perhaps where this had perhaps gone away from the path that you had actually together, and what part do you, particularly Deborah, play in bringing the relationship back into line. It doesn't doesn't mean that you need to change. It only means that the two of you have been evolving with one another, and somewhere along the line you lost touch. Bring it back. The relationship does deserve a chance. And let me just draw a little card for you, but remember, the grass is not always greener on the other side, and it may look that way to you. But you know what? Sometimes I've been with my life partner for 30 years, and that's an achievement in itself, but it's not all bed of roses. You need to learn to balance it up, to compromise, and to see it from another point of view. And my goodness, look at this card. Deborah, communicate clearly. Got beautiful angel there with a couple of dolphins. Dolphins are the messengers, the angels of the sea, and they communicate with us even though that they don't speak our language. So the idea here with your communication is, it's about time that you are lovingly honest with your partner. And in that way, you're going to build up a new platform that you're going to be able to catapult that relationship in a much nicer and fresher way. And there's nothing to hide anymore because you've been loving and honest. And be prepared for that communication to flow, yes? So your partner can be loving and honest with you, because then and only then you're going to be able to flourish one more time. But remember that every relationship goes like the seasons, yes? We go from autumn to winter, winter into spring, and then summer. And perhaps at the moment there's a little bit of a winter there, a little bit of a cocoon for you to move forward.
Okay. We've just been together 12 years, and I'm just wondering if I shouldn't just, maybe find someone else, because, we were supposed to get married and we just haven't, and, it seems like it's just been so long waiting.
It's very painful. You hear a lot of pain in Deborah's voice there, and
yes.
I think that's where I was getting from the stop before. Yeah. And that's where it makes sense with what you're saying there, Raoul, about being able to communicate really honestly and clearly with your partner. And I feel like you've been banging your head against a wall here, Deborah, trying to do that. But I think that there's merit in what Raoul's saying, absolutely, in that need to try to have that communication, whether this is through counselling, through some form of healing work. But yeah, I think the thing is that you'll know if and when you do need to disconnect from that person, because you'll come to a point actually where if there is to be a separation with someone, I think that what happens is people often give up at the that point where we're disparaging the partner, because there's 3 stages of relationship. You've got idealisation. Oh my God, they're fantastic.
Honeymoon.
And that you can't see anything wrong with them. And then there's a denigration stage. They're awful. And you can't see anything good about them. And that's where a lot of relationships quit. The integration stage is where you're able to see both the good and the not so fabulous sides of yourself in relationship, and as mirrored by your partner in how they're relating with you. And that's where, for example, if someone says to me, my partner's very selfish, well, I'll say, well, why are you giving too much? Do you need to be being a bit more selfish to balance this out a bit? Because in some relationships, people do nothing but give, and it leaves only one role left for their partner to play out, and that is to be the taker. And so, there does need to sometimes be balance, but where you find that other person is not assisting you with the care and maintenance of the vehicle of this relationship, and the wheels just keep falling off, and you're the only one repairing them, and it's just you doing the work on that, that's where, eventually you do get to the point where the vehicle won't run. So a relationship can't be fixed by one person. It does take both of you, but it is something that, I just feel in you that we haven't quite completely gotten to that stage where you feel absolutely nothing but wishing them the best. Because if you're still angry with them, or you're still sad about them, or you still want them to change, then you're still in the relationship, and that's where you still have to keep I guess trying to find some kind of middle ground. But where you feel absolutely nothing and you feel absolutely, completely not in that relationship anymore, yeah, well, that's when I would say, yeah, this is over. So have a think about that, Deborah, and I hope it helps you. But certainly I'd be taking some meditation to this. There's a bit of work to do there. And thank you so much for your call. And we'll both be sending you healing later on. And I hope that helps you, Deborah.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Absolutely welcome.
Pleasure.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Rel. It's been quite quickly, hasn't it?
It's been a whirlwind. Thank you for coming all the way to Ballarat.
Oh, absolutely.
And to be here in our lovely studio for Crystal Blue Butterfly. And, well, we shall do it again sometime.
Absolutely. And you can find Rel. There'll be links on the website that you can connect to on Soulstar Radio. You can come and have a healing in Ballarat and reading. And you can catch up with Rel with his books as well. We'll catch you next time on Soulstar Radio. Same bad time, same bad channel next week. Bye.
Up to 40% of businesses never recover after experiencing a major disaster. Make a plan at ready.gov/business.
La 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 la, I love you so. I love you, I love you. La 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 la, la 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 la.
We're here.
Yay!
It's a short drive from your neighborhood to your naturehood. To find a neighborhood park or green space near you, visit discovertheforest.org.
Welcome to A1R Psychic Radio here on Moonstruck TV. You're here again with Amanda Hall Psychic, all the way from the Gold Coast in Australia, where we're in the midst of winter. It's a beautiful summer's day. It's almost like a summer's day outside today here for us. So I hope wherever you are in this beautiful globe of ours, you've been enjoying the weather and enjoying the energy and just enjoying being alive. I think it's really an exciting time of the year to just sort of sit and say, wow, isn't this great? I'm part of this amazing universe. So this week, of course, we'll feature some of the things that are happening in the universe. We'll have a little look at our third part of our four-part series on Mercury. But I'd like to start the show today with the Simply Tarot card of the week. And for those of you that are regular watchers, you'll find each week I feature a card from a set that I designed about 13 years ago. And this is a card for all of us to share and take away a message that hopefully we can ponder on and may just improve our lives in the next 7 days. If we collectively all join hands together around this amazing globe, maybe we can make a big difference. So this week, the card of the week is actually the Eight of Wands. Now, the Eight of Wands represents speedy news or situation coming, but it can also be the arrows of love. So the arrows of love doesn't always mean we're going to go into a new relationship. I actually think when I see this card, it means universal love, that we can all start to make a difference in this amazing globe of ours if we all try and do some little positive thing each and every day, that collectively the energy ramps up. We have more positivity than we do negativity. So again, we have more light than we do dark. And I think that's a very important message for all of us to take forward in this next 7 days, considering there's been so much turmoil in recent times around the world. Why don't we try and change this with our beautiful spiritual love? So it's an interesting time in the universe at the moment, with lots of planetary configurations dancing around this amazing planet of ours. And last week we had the full moon in Cancer, which was joined by the amazing planet Mars, and they were both sitting in Cancer. And I've warned everybody to be a little bit careful of your communication over the last weekend, that, you know, sometimes some frayed tempers and old hurts and grievances could come to the surface. Well, my phone ran hot with people saying, oh, wow, you won't believe what happened, this is what happened, or we resolved this issue, or we had a big argument, or whatever. So following on from that, we still have a Mars and Mercury transit in Cancer. Yes, the Sun is in Cancer, but he's not actually holding hands with Mercury, the planet of communication, or Mars, the planet of action. So I'd just like to focus on Mars and Mercury. Now, we've been featuring in the last couple of shows some little bit of energy about Mercury going through the signs. And it's interesting that this week we will be up to our third part of the series of Mercury through the signs, but I'm going to actually feature in our What's Happening in the Universe section Mercury conjunct or holding hands with Mars in Cancer right this second. And this will affect each and every astrological sign around the globe. So Mercury, we understand, is the planet of communication. Mars is the planet of action. So when these two hold hands, it's a time when we can have some absolutely major breakthroughs on the communication front, because we've got the drive of Mars pushing home or hammering home a message, wanting to be heard or wanting to sort of push forward and break down those barriers of communication that where there may have been blockages, there may have been things that people weren't prepared to look at or didn't want to look at, but we wash it over with the gentleness, hopefully, of Cancer, where it's fluid. It's like the ebb and flow of the tide, of the waves lapping the shore, and it's a gentle sort of approach. Yes, we need to be maybe forthright and determined, but we don't necessarily need to have our angry or our aggressive hat on to make these breakthroughs with communication. So I'm going to err on the side of positivity and say maybe this is a major thing that could help break down some of the major political decisions that have got to be made around this globe of ours at the moment. Maybe it's a good sign that the politicians will actually sit down and have some constructive conversations and try and find real solutions to some of the world's issues. Wouldn't that be amazing if this is how this planetary configuration is going to pan out? For the rest of us, on a more personal note, this is the time, if there's been an issue or something in your life that has been bugging you, someone that you need to have a conversation with, but you've been putting it off because you're frightened of how the situation will unfold, or you're not sure whether they're going to listen to you or whether they're going to even want to listen to you. Now is the perfect time to sort of put your strategy into place and gently, and I do stress the word gently try and open the lines of communication and see where it could take you. By having this gentle approach and then standing your ground in a very gentle but constructive way, maybe, just maybe, we'll get the breakthroughs that we've been looking for in the deadlock with family communications or communications with your friends, things that need to be said. This also spills over into the workplace. So if you've been looking for that perfect time to pitch your new idea to your boss about how we can improve things on the job front, not necessarily the time to go for a pay rise, but a great time to pitch new ideas, and sort of people will really start to take notice. So it is interesting. For most of us, it's a time of communication. It's a time of high energy, but at the same time in a gentle sort of approach. It's the time to sort of get up out of our chair, go for that stroll in the park, do something different, but make sure the whole time that we're aware of the information that's being downloaded into our minds, because we may just find we'll get some breakthroughs or some answers to questions that have been rolling around in our minds for a little while. I always feel it's interesting when we hit the middle part of the year. For some of us, we run out of steam. Others of us, we get really motivated and think, wow, this is great. Life is sort of, revving up a gear or two. So I suppose it depends on what part of the world that you live in. And I suppose more importantly, when your birthday is in this 12-month cycle, for those of you that are born in the middle of the year, well, you may be finding that this is an amazing time where you actually sort of feel high energy, you're motivated, you're setting goals, you're setting intentions for things that you want to achieve for the next 12 months. And for those that are born at the end of the year, you sort of might be feeling a little bit lethargic and feel like curling up on the lounge with a good book or watching a nice movie or something and just chilling out from the world. So whatever your situation is, it's important to honour that. Now we're going to move on to the third part in our series, and we have been looking at Mercury, the planet of communication. And it's not just how we communicate, it's where our intellect comes from, it's where our sense of humour comes from. So Mercury has an important role in our astrological chart because it helps us share our message with the world, but it also helps us understand what other people are trying to share with us. So this week we move on to the next 3 signs, and the first one we're going to be covering on tonight's show is Libra. Now Mercury in Libra, a lot of astrologers sort of think, oh, Mercury would feel quite comfortable here because Mercury's the planet of communication and Libra likes to sort of chat and sort of see both sides of the issue and sort of tries to bring fairness and justice to any sort of conversation or any discussion that may be going on, and that's true to a certain point. But I also sort of feel too, sometimes here with Mercury in Libra, it can sometimes bring forward really serious arguments because sometimes we find that people sort of get very stuck or very bogged down in their interpretation or their communication is the only way, that no one else is really into